Do you need help with marketing, new clients, or online reviews? MassageBook is your solution, streamlining all the challenging aspects of your massage therapy practice. This powerful software simplifies scheduling, payments, and marketing, allowing you to focus on what you do best, helping clients live better. Plus, sign up now with code ABMP50 and get $50 off after your free 30-day trial. Visit massagebook.com, create an account, and transform your practice today. That's MassageBook with code ABMP50 for $50 off. Don't wait. Give it a shot today. Calling all anatomy lovers. Embody U's 6-day hands-on fresh tissue cadaver dissection is back. Join founders Ann Teachworth and Allison Wesley in an exploration of what you're really made of. What makes the Embody U dissection lab so special? Explore tissue textures and layers through hands-on dissection, then integrate those insights into your own body with movement embodiments. The lab is held at the Institute for Anatomical Research in Colorado Springs. Get $200 off with code EMBODYABMP. Visit embodyu.net. That's embody, the letter U.net.
Hi, everyone. This is Whitney Lowe, and I'm delighted to be with you for another episode of the ABMP Podcast, a podcast that speaks to the massage and bodywork community. Today, I'm going to be talking with you about artificial intelligence, or AI, and how it may impact the massage therapy world. AI has been around us for a long time, and you've been using a lot, whether you realize it or not. Spell check on your documents, serving up suggestions for your Netflix viewing, or helping you find the fastest route home in your car are all activities powered by AI. But back in late November of 2022, a company called OpenAI released an AI tool called ChatGPT. This started off a firestorm of frenzied activity, innovation, and panic as people realized what that tool was capable of doing. So what is AI really, and how could it have anything to do with massage? I've been fascinated by this question, so today I wanted to share with you some things that I've learned in my early explorations about what AI tools are and what they might mean for the current and future massage profession. I thought a good place to start would be by asking ChatGPT itself about AI and massage. So what you're going to hear, this is a real and unscripted conversation I recorded with the voice analysis options in the newest version of ChatGPT. Here's what my AI friend Juniper said. So how would you define AI or artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence, or AI, is the simulation of human intelligence in machines. These machines are programmed to think and learn like humans, enabling them to perform tasks such as problem solving, decision making, language understanding, and even recognizing patterns. AI can range from simple algorithms to complex neural networks that mimic the human brain structure and function.
That sounds pretty technical, but could AI have anything to do with helping out in the massage therapy profession?
Absolutely. AI can be very useful in the massage therapy profession. For example, AI can help in scheduling appointments more efficiently, managing client records, and providing personalized treatment plans based on client data. It can also assist in continuing education by offering customized learning experiences and resources. Additionally, AI can help gather and analyze research information to keep practitioners up to date with the latest techniques and findings.
So that sounds like an interesting entry into looking at what AI might potentially do. So I want to take those things that we've mentioned here and explore them in a little bit more detail and look at how they might be relevant for you on a day-to-day basis. So first off, our friend Juniper mentioned in practice some things that would be beneficial for AI tools. So one of the things our AI friend Juniper mentioned here is personalized treatment plans, or ways that we could use AI tools to help sort of cater to the specific inquiries and needs of our clients. More specifically, by maybe they mentioned something in some session, a couple sessions ago, and we can't quite remember it, but an AI tool might be used during the input session and keep a record of all the things that have been gone on with that particular client that are particularly relevant, so you can make an easy recommendation or easy reference back to something that happened with that client previously. So a more personalized treatment plan might be something that you could use an AI tool to help you create. Physicians, nurses, and other healthcare professionals are already using AI tools in the assessment and evaluation process. And this is a fascinating application. I mean, if you've been to the doctor in recent years, I know I have certainly been, frustrated with the process of trying to conduct an interview where I'm telling them what's going on with me, but they're sitting there staring at the computer, trying to type notes into the computer about all the things that I'm saying. And I feel like they're not really paying attention to me sometimes. AI tools could really solve that problem to a great degree by simply recording everything that you say with your client and immediately turning it into treatment notes. And this could even be not only the things that are said during the interview, but you could say, for example, a client had pain and discomfort when they did this particular movement. Let's say, elevating their shoulder and abduction out to the side on their right side. They had pain at about 90 degrees of abduction of their shoulder. These are all things that the AI tool can take into consideration and also help you formulate ideas about what might be possibly going on, where some things that you want to focus on with your massage treatment and the things that would be most beneficial in addressing their current complaints. So this is a way that it could be used. You could be using an AI tool like this in your practice to really help speed up and make your interview process even more accurate. I had asked a question on one of the social media forums a couple of weeks ago about what kinds of things people were finding the biggest obstacles in their practice. Just curious about what kind of things AI tools might be able to help with. Turns out the biggest problem that I came back with in terms of people at least responding to that particular inquiry was about laundry. And right now, I don't think the AI tools are going to help us do any laundry. But there are some things that they might be able to do, such as acting as a virtual assistant with helping to manage appointment scheduling, client follow-ups, reminders that are sent out, and encouraging the practitioner to focus more on certain aspects of what's going on with that particular client. It's so easy to forget a lot of things related to the whole management of clients and billing and all that kind of stuff. All those kinds of activities could have ways in which AI tools that currently exist, or even some that are yet to be developed, could help a great deal. Now, as an educator, I am, of course, particularly interested in the education arena, and this is one of the places where I think AI tools are going to really excel. Some of the interesting things that we're seeing already in use that can make some very significant benefits and impacts on what's going on in the massage therapy profession include things like interactive learning platforms. So AI can create interactive and adaptive learning platforms that adjust to the difficulty in the content being presented to the student, and therefore adjusting, how they respond to this and what might be fed to them with additional content. This is a big issue that we have to grapple with in the massage profession, because we have so many people coming into our educational systems from incredibly diverse backgrounds and varying different, age levels. Some people come in at 19 years old right out of high school, and other people come in, just before retirement age, wanting to do something meaningful with their later years. Some people come in with tremendous amount of work experience from their lives in related professions and want to do something that really is personally meaningful to them. And maybe they want to get involved with massage, but they've been a nurse for 20 years. They're going to have a really different set of skills and base knowledge than that individual who just got out of high school and is just getting started in their profession. And this poses a real challenge in the classroom for the teachers, because basically in our in-person classroom experiences, it's one pace fits all, one pace for going through the content in the classroom. And it's going to be too slow for some people and too fast for some other people. So the capability to have interactive learning strategies or personalized learning plans is what they often call this, is a great, fascinating potential for the future for customizing and tailoring your learning to where you are right now. So if you're a more advanced student, you get more advanced content fed to you. If you're somebody who's just new to this and really struggling with things, the system can provide for you much more rudimentary and basic explanations, and really make those explanations much more robust and comprehensive so that you can not feel like you're getting left behind all the time. This can be a great benefit for some of those students, maybe even second language students or people who have difficulty understanding the way things are said in the classroom. They can go back and use these individualized tutoring systems to help them tremendously make advances and stay up with what they're doing in class. There's some really interesting tools that are out there now doing this in the K-12 education system. In particular, there's one that was developed by Salman Khan from the Khan Academy, and you may be familiar with hearing of that company. He's a organization that has been doing a tremendous amount of work with innovative alternative education strategies, especially in the online environment. But they have a tool called Conmigo, which is designed to do this very thing, become kind of like a personalized tutoring system for each individual student to find where they are, what kind of resources can be given to them, give them immediate and targeted feedback that might be beneficial to help them where they're stuck, and then provide adaptive learning strategies for them. An adaptive learning strategy is one where, let's say you're working on a set of questions and you get two of the more challenging questions right, then it'll feed you harder and more challenging questions. So if you don't get those questions right, it might direct you back to other areas that'll help you focus on the things that you didn't get correct. So these types of personalized and individual learning strategies are going to be a fascinating application of AI in the future. And it's already here. So it's just a matter of when do we start seeing some of these things implemented. One of the great things, too, that AI can do, and this is an example of, like, you just heard me at the beginning of this podcast having a conversation with this AI tool, but suppose instead of asking for a definition of AI, I wanted to run through a scenario in a safe environment of how to handle an ethical transgression with a client. This would be a great way to practice that process. You could tell the AI tool, I want you to act like a client who is behaving inappropriately in a massage therapy session, and have the AI tool say certain things to you, and then you would have to learn how to respond directly to it, and it's going to give you immediate feedback or responses the way a person who's in that particular role might be acting. So the capability to give situational learning for things that students and practitioners are likely to encounter in practice is a great way to practice how you say some of those things and how you learn how to address them when they come up in the real practice. Now, of course, this has great potential also for test and licensure preparation for the massage students, because you can do a tremendous amount with the AI tools giving you flashcards, quiz questions, multiple choice questions, all kinds of things you can have it create for you and help you in the study process. And you can have that also be done in an adaptive learning strategy to really give you the overall guidance to help you best prepare for the things that are coming up for you, not only in your licensing exam, but also the things that you're likely to encounter in your professional practice as well. Another beneficial thing for the educators is also something called predictive analytics, where the AI tools can do a deep dive analysis on student performance and see where students are grappling with certain subjects, content topics, or other things that they might be having trouble with, and then provide additional learning tools and strategies for them that will help them get ahead and stay caught up with what they're doing and not feel like they're getting dropped out and left behind. So these predictive analytics tools can be very beneficial for a teacher who is oftentimes very busy and overworked and not able to focus on each individual student, especially somebody who might be quiet but quietly falling behind. This would be a great way to catch up with them and keep them going on what they need to learn.
Let's take a short break to hear a word from our sponsors. Anatomy Trains will be holding our flagship Anatomy Trains Structural Integration ATSI training in beautiful Vancouver starting September 16th, 2024. Progressively build your anatomical knowledge, hands-on manual therapy techniques, and most importantly, seeing and understanding postural patterns and developing strategies tailored to individual needs. We warmly invite you to apply today and bring your bodywork career to the next level. Visit anatomytrains.com for more. Let's get back to our conversation.
One of the other things I've been using AI tools for a good bit recently, exploring this avenue, is in research and identification of key information from the science literature and trying to find ways to consolidate that. You know, as practitioners, we hear all the time how important it is to keep up with current research. But let's face it, you're busy in the clinic treatment room. You don't have time to read detailed science papers all the time and find out where this current information is coming from. How do you keep up with all this stuff? It is incredibly difficult. Some of this is now made much, much easier with a number of the AI research assistance tools that are out there. So I want to talk for just a moment about searching for information and how some of the tools that AI has for us can make that much easier. The first place I want to start with this is talk about two different search strategies that we might use as we go to the internet to look for information. So the original search strategy that's been around for a long time is something that we would call traditional keyword search. And what happens in keyword search is the You put, let's say, a particular topic or a few keywords into a Google search engine, and it's going to feed back to you a group of websites and other resources that have those particular keywords listed in them. So how many times that keyword appears on that website or in that particular page or that particular post, where they appear, is it in a title or a heading, or is it in the body of the text? And also popularity of that page with other inbound links, like how many people are linking to that page from somewhere else. If you have a page that's linked from a lot of other locations, it gets ranked higher in the search engines because the search engines are then determining, hey, I think this is important because lots of other people are saying, go there and look at this thing as well. So there's a lot of web strategies in trying to find ways to get the important and most relevant keywords into your website documents and find things. But let's face it, sometimes when you're searching for a quick answer, you need a quick answer to a question, you can put some keywords in there, or maybe even type a question into Google search engine, and it's going to do its best based on the keyword strategy search to find relevant websites. But then you are going to be served up a group of websites, which you may have to go through and read all this content and see, is it really what you're looking for, and is it really relevant? There's another search strategy that is emerging now called semantic search. And what happens in semantic search is this process aims to understand the intent and contextual meaning behind a search query using natural language processing, or NLP, and machine learning techniques. So it goes beyond just matching keywords to actually comprehend the semantics of the query. So if you ask it, for example, is there a way that massage therapy might be beneficial for treating, let's say, thoracic outlet syndrome? It's going to take all of that content that you gave it and not just look for websites that have thoracic outlet syndrome and massage as keywords, but it's going to actually try to interpret the meaning of what you are saying, and then it will generally spit out an answer to that very question, not just send you to a bunch of websites, but actually answer your question for you and give you a comprehensive evaluation of the resources that it used to get that answer. There is an excellent semantic search tool called Perplexity, and you can find this at perplexity.ai. That's perplexity.ai. And I would encourage you to do this as an experiment. Take something that you want to learn about, put it into a search engine, into your standard Google search engine, type that question in there, and then go to perplexity.ai and type the same question in there and see about the way in which you get a different type of answer that tells you the sources for where the answer is coming from, but it's going to give you a specific answer to your question. It's a super helpful resource tool. I have actually found myself using Perplexity now almost exclusively, and very few times going to Google to search for information, because I can get such a targeted response to exactly what I'm looking for through that semantic search strategy. Now, there's some other critical research tools that I find really helpful here for analyzing science literature. In particular, there's a couple that I want to address. SciSpace, Explain Paper, and Consensus are two of these three really helpful resource tools. SciSpace is an analysis tool that's designed to analyze scientific papers. And basically, you can ask it a question just like you might do in your standard search engine, and it will give you the papers that are relevant to that particular search. Or you can put a paper in there and upload a PDF into it and ask it to give you a highlight or give you an analysis of this particular paper. You can even highlight a section of the paper and say, hey, please explain this to me. I don't understand it. So this is a great way to use these tools to speed up and make your understanding of sometimes complex research papers much more efficient. Explain Paper is another tool that does this. You can do a similar thing, and you can upload the entire PDF paper there and ask for a summary of it. But one of the other interesting things that Explain Paper will do is you can say, I want to explain this in really simple terms. It will give you a sort of sliding scale of what level of explanation do you want. It goes all the way from a 5-year-old all the way up past graduate student to an expert in the field. So you can determine what level of analysis you want it to do and what level of explanation to give you for that particular section that it is explaining in there. So this is an outstanding way to really get down to the nitty-gritty and make sure you understand what's going on in each of these individual papers. The last tool I was going to mention was something called Consensus, which I also like for some of the other things that it does. Consensus is a tool that allows you to sort of take a number of different resources or papers, put them together and load them into this tool, and then say, what is the general consensus of all of these papers around a particular topic? So let's say you're looking at a particular topic around massage for osteoarthritis or something like that. You can get a group of papers and load them in there and say, what is the general consensus about whether or not massage is beneficial in addressing this particular condition? And then you can alter or change all kinds of different parameters about whether or not it's looking at systematic reviews or just individual case studies, or maybe papers only in the last 5 years if you want things that are really current. And you'll see the consensus information change based on those filters. Like if you just leave it, say, give me everything that's ever been done on this area, you might get a really broad consensus saying, yeah, there's not a whole lot of agreement, or there doesn't seem to be any particular issues here. But then if you narrow that search down to maybe just the last 5 years and only papers with systematic reviews and a very rigorous methodology, you see the consensus understanding of that particular topic changes significantly. So these are super helpful research tools for you in your clinical practice, especially if you are a busy clinical practitioner on a day-to-day basis and want to catch up with some of the things that's in the research literature, but you just don't have time to read all these papers. These will help you tremendously. Now, we can't talk about AI without talking about some of the concerns and trepidations around this, because there are a lot of them, and I want to address some of those as well. One of the big things that comes up, the first time when you start talking about AI coming into our jobs, people say, like, are we going to get replaced by AI? Well, I don't think there's any likelihood that we're going to see massage therapy replaced by AI tools, certainly anytime soon at all, just because we know the most important facet of what goes on in a massage therapy profession is the interaction between the client and the therapist. And that's just something you cannot mimic with machine learning. So it may influence all different kinds of things that we're doing, but you're not going to lose your job to AI. So this is something I'd say, don't worry about this at the moment, but look at those other things that may be potentially beneficial. There is also a fear that, the sort of personal and human aspect of massage might be diminished if AI takes on too much of a role in too many different things in your practice. And that's certainly a valid concern to be thinking about. So look at places where you think it'll be really beneficial, but also, we know we have to maintain that individual client connection process, because that's the most valuable thing of what we do. We spend more time with people than anybody in the healthcare system virtually. So, this is the real benefit of what we can do in our treatments. And that kind of thing is not necessarily going to get replaced by what's happening in AI. Another one you hear about frequently revolves around data privacy and security. So when you're doing things, for example, with an AI tool like dictating treatment notes and putting personal information into these tools that you want them to analyze or things like that, there are concerns around the security and sensitivity of that client information. So if you're going to do something like that, make sure you establish a system that is safe and has appropriate data security parameters in place to make sure your data and any client data that you might put in there, or maybe personal data about your practice that you don't want to necessarily be shared, make sure that kind of stuff can be appropriately screened off and secure. One of the things that I hear a lot is around accuracy of AI responses. There's a lot of skepticism about especially when ChatGPT first came out, people started putting questions in there and saying, oh, look at these, because it does create erroneous information sometimes. When you feed it a prompt asking it things, it will say things that are just factually incorrect. So it's always important that you check the accuracy of these things. But one of the things that I have learned about AI tools over some time of experimenting with them is the better you get at prompting them and telling them exactly what you're looking for and what the parameters are, what to exclude, what to include, and some real strong guardrails and guidelines around that, the responses become more and more accurate. And I've seen some absolutely incredible work performed by some of these AI tools when they're given really good prompts. So be careful about just giving it a simple question and assuming that it's always going to spit out a correct answer, because that is not true. There's other ethical concerns that have been raised as well, including how the potential misuse of AI tools might impact the client on consent and autonomy. And we want to ensure that any kind of AI applications are always in alignment with any of our professional ethical standards and regulations. And look at what models are being used to train the AI tools, because there is the potential for bias to be introduced into some of these systems unintentionally. So, for example, AI tools are trained on just gazillions of amounts of data. And this data is coming from certain places on the web, and there may be biases about certain, stereotypes about particular ethnographic parameters for people, or certain types of things that are just, again, stereotypes that are reinforced with information that's on the web. And those data models are being trained on that. So that's something to think about. There may be ways in which bias might be introduced into some of these systems. So be on the watch for that as well. There's also likely to be a fair amount of anxiety about the need for learning these kinds of tools and what kind of additional training might be necessary. Some people are going to feel real apprehensive about this because they're going to say, I'm not a technical person. I'm not a techie kind of person. So this kind of stuff, I just can't deal with it. So that's perfectly fine too. But, there's a lot of people that said that when the internet came around, and they've learned to use it. So take some time. Some of these tools are just really super simple to use and can be really beneficial, but it is obviously within reason to have some concerns about, how much this is going to be a challenge for you individually. If you're not somebody who's really interested or oriented toward technological skills, then don't necessarily, don't use it. So to use what you think might be appropriate and what might be helpful for you. But my encouragement is to see if you can find ways to tamp down the fear around some of these things and just experiment, play around with them, and learn what they can do for us. And the last thing that I'll mention too is another caution or concern is there is the possibility that there could be some over-reliance on the technology to do certain types of things. If people put too much weight onto what some of these AI tools can do in their practice or in their professional activities that they're doing. So the big caution is always don't let the human element be excluded from this process. Yeah, these are absolutely tools that can do some truly incredible things and advance our knowledge in incredible ways, but necessarily doesn't mean that we just stop thinking and we stop paying attention and we stop analyzing things. So these are some important factors to consider. So anyway, this is just kind of a general overview of some things that I thought are particularly relevant around the role of AI tools, what they do, and how they might impact us as a massage profession. One of the things that I will tell you is just these things are changing so incredibly fast, and they are evolving so incredibly fast. We're going to see lots of changes happening in a very short period of time. So we are living in the early stages of the AI revolution, and it is going to continue impacting all kinds of things that we're doing. But my encouragement is take some time, explore some of these different resources out there, and let me know what you hear about them. You can always reach me directly through my email, whitney@academyofclinicalmassage.com. I'd love to hear about your experiences playing around with them and any other questions that you have. Thanks again for listening.